Good morning. This is Gino Frattallone. I'm a volunteer for Cable 8 and 38. The reason I'm in Westford is to interview the gentleman by the name Tom Weaver. He's running for Congress. I'm just going to ask him a few questions, then I'm going to go back on the camera and let him speak and let him know what his purpose is for running for Congress. Mr. Tom Weaver, it's a pleasure to meet you. And also, I'm very proud that you are endorsing yourself in challenging others to participate in the political arena.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you in my home.
Okay.
I'm happily married, got 6 kids. 5 are over the age of 27, and one's a 12-year-old. The 12-year-old keeps my wife and I both young. That's what they say. It also keeps us very, very tired. This year, the 12-year-old grew to within 2 inches of my height, and I realized that I can't protect him anymore, and I have to pass the blessings of liberty to him, as this document, the Constitution, says in the preamble. It is important to me that we remember that we are a country, and it is we the people. So I look at what's going on at Washington, and the course has changed. And it's changed over the years. Changed quite a few times. See, the Declaration of Independence says that we are a country that the governed give the power to the government. That only works if you get involved. You get involved civically, you get involved in the community. Lately, though, more and more people have given the powers to the government implicitly. Basically, they don't vote, they don't tell the congressman where they want to go, they don't look at the issues and write their congressman. They're not really involved. And as such, Washington tends to go in its own direction. We need to change that. We're still the greatest and the freest nation in the world, but that whole boundary of the blessings of liberty has gone and decreased because we're not telling our politicians and the people that govern us which direction we want to go. We need to be louder. We need to be involved. So I decided after years of serving this country in various roles that now I had to run for Congress because I believe I have the principle necessary to stand up and listen to the people and change the course back to a more limited government, back to a government that we recognize again. The reason I'm running again is because we need to send people of principle down to Washington, D.C. so that we can start to create a balance between the branches of government, Congress and the executive branch. Right now there is no balance. People feel that the business at hand is just what the party in power is saying you should go to. So I want to change that. I want to be an ally with Scott Brown. I want to get other people to join together so we can bring back a representative government. That's what we're based on. My issues are very simple. We need jobs. I collected 2,500 signatures for myself over the past 4 weeks, and it amazed me how much unemployment affects everybody. It affects those that have a job because they don't know if they're going to keep one. It affects those that don't have a job because they don't know when they're going to get one. We throw around numbers that Lawrence has a high unemployment rate of 18%, and Lowell's got an employment rate of 12%. Basically, the unemployment rate is too high across the board, across Massachusetts, across this country. So we need jobs. We need a lot of jobs. I was a small business owner. I started my first business 25 years ago. I haven't hired that many people. I've hired about 50 people in my lifetime. Good people. They worked hard. They got good benefits. I hired them because I knew what the landscape was going to be and what type of risk I had to meet. Today's landscape, we don't know what the risks are because Congress and the people in Washington, D.C. are continuing to change the rules. We can't plan. I mean, it's up to we the people You and me and the entrepreneur down the street and the kid coming out of college. It's up to us to create the jobs, because we're going to create jobs that good pay, good wages, they create something. Hopefully a lot of the jobs are going to be manufacturing jobs again, because that gives more income. I know how to create jobs. You create jobs by, the second item is, we have to decrease the size of government. I read a statistic that every time a statute is created, there are about 10 to 20 regulations that are created to support that statute. If you look at a 2,000-page health care bill and realize how many statutes can come out of that and how many regulations can come out of that, that increase in bureaucracy, that paperwork, that red tape, that destroys private job creation. So I can't hire anybody because I don't know what the rules are. How many laws am I going to be in violation of? That's got to stop. We need these jobs to pay, to create the revenue to sustain this country. The third issue is one of the best ways to get government smaller is to limit the spending. I don't know about you, but I look at my 12-year-old and realize that his future is in grave doubt, because going into it, what was the latest statistic? Something like, if we look at the unfunded debt, he already owes $300,000. He's only 12 years old. I don't know how you can meet that. We're still the greatest country. If we release our spirit, if we release our Americanism, if we act the way we know how to act, we will come out of this and we can change the course, and it will become a better world, and we will be in the lead. That's where we need to be. Let me say it one more time. Each one of us, each one of our children, if we look at all of the debt that we have incurred today, and we look at all of the promises that we've given the future generations, that we've given our grandparents, that we've given our parents, promises that we must keep. If you add that cost up, it comes into about $300,000 per person over their lifetime. We cannot sustain that. That will bankrupt this country, pure and simple. Anyway, I've gone over my main issues are jobs. I believe that the private market, the private sector, is the person that creates those jobs. We create jobs by getting government size under control. We look at the different waste. When you look at a $3.8 trillion budget, if even 10% is waste, and we know that that's low, that's $380 billion that we can save, that we can use for other things, or that we can not even use. I prefer not even using it. And then finally, in order to get government smaller, again, we control the spending. I was talking to a congressman, an ex-congressman, about the spending bill. And it's 70 to 75% of the spending that comes out of Washington, D.C. is automatic. Someplace in the Constitution, we all know it's in the Constitution, it's not someplace, Congress is supposed to approve all spending. If it automatically increases every year by some percentage, and it's a rule by Congress, I don't see how they're actually looking line per line at what they're spending. So 70%, or let's make an easy number, let's say 50% of the $3.8 trillion budget is automatic. I mean, that in itself, 50%, is equivalent to what is less than what we were spending, or is more than what we were spending 4 years ago per year on the budget. That's exponential growth. I look around, and you have to ask yourself the question, what gives me the credentials? Why am I suited for this office?